And welcome back. So, last episode I de-wrinkled my blue circuit build, where I'd made a bit of a hash of building it in-game. So, just to recap, I'd done a blue circuit build in-game, and it looked fine. I then, between episodes, took it into creative mode and blatted it down and booted it up, and it didn't work. So that was a bit of a lesson. I'd originally put it in there because I wasn't sure about fluids. I didn't know if I needed lots and lots of unbarreling machines, if the sulfuric acid would make it all the way through the pipe network, that sort of thing. So that was why I went into creative. When I went in, I found that wasn't an issue at all, but that the blue circuit machines couldn't be fed with enough green circuits to keep going, because the peculiarity is one cycle of blue circuit making requires more than 2 stacks of green circuits, and that meant you needed at least 2 stack inserters feeding the machine so that it was always topped up. One stack inserter just wouldn't do it. You also needed your green circuits coming out of a separate pot, a separate requester chest from your red circuits, because now and again the green circuits would run dry, but the stack inserters would have a handful of red circuits, and then everything would jam up. So, anyway, having learnt my lesson, I've kind of wimped out, and I'm now in creative mode for plastic. I may do this once again for the oil build, and then I'll definitely be building everything else in the game. But the plastic, from past experience, it's such a guzzler of petroleum that I really have no chance of designing it in game and it working. So we'll do it here in Sandbox, and I will then copy paste this build over into the main game, and then hopefully from then on normal service will be pretty much resumed. Okay, so what I've done is paste down my production module template. This is the one material in, one material out. Those of you who have even a passing familiarity with the game will know that plastic is made with coal and petroleum. Coal obviously is a solid, we can bring that in on trains. The petroleum, I haven't decided whether I'm going to tanker in or bring it in barrels. So that's why I've intentionally not put in any rail support for petroleum. When I've decided how I'm going to move the fluids around, which is partly going to be decided by what the refinery modules look like, I will then come back and rework all these builds that require fluids to have either a station that's dealing with barrels or a station with fluids, or maybe a shared station across all the modules. The other thing is I haven't put any maintenance stations in these, so nothing to drop off logistics bots, nothing to drop off fuel. Again, that's all stuff which will come later once I've got everything starting to behave. So that those are things I can decide later on, and then the same solution will be used across all sites. So here we are with our basic skeleton. We have room for 2 locomotives at the front. Let's put those in. Great. Then we have 8 carriages. Now this is our pickup. This is going to pick up plastic. So because we're in creative mode, I'm going to put down some voiding carriages. So these are carriages which eat whatever gets put inside them. Then 2 locomotives at the back. Then again, because we're in creative mode, I'm going to put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 duplicating carriages. These ones, whatever you put in here, it fills up with them, which then allows it to endlessly supply the boxes. So using this, we can work out how many boxes we need. Then to get rid of the blinking lights, because it is annoying. Okay. There we are. And up to the top, let's do the same again. Okay, so that's got rid of the flashing. Okay, we need some coal. Which isn't on the creative because there is no recipe to make coal. Right, so I spawned this new world. It should have a starting patch of coal. Here we are. We will mine a piece of coal. There is our single, individual, unique piece of coal. There you are. That's the power of duplicating providers. Right, so let's just check. Yeah, all of these have coal in. So they are now busily filling up their buffer chests. We will have to do something about that in a minute, but it's fine for now. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We are trying to make plastic. So the recipe for that is 1 of coal, 20 of petroleum. And a petroleum barrel has 50 petroleum in it. So this takes 1 second. This takes 1/5 of a second. So I think we could power an entire row of assemblers off a single barreling machine. Let's see what we can do. So the other problem is I've done these kind of builds before, and once things are fully beaconed, you max out the capacity of the pipes really quickly. So we will have to see how that works. Right, so the first thing is let's just put down a simple, silly design for petroleum. So let's assume that this can be done with a really tight packing of 12 beacons. And then we will work backwards from this. Right, so let's make this into a plastic machine. Where is it? Ah, it's not in one of those, is it? It's in a chemical plant. Okay. Choose a recipe. Plastic. We can put 3 productivity mods rather than 4. Okay, that's going to muck up our ratios if we were to use a barreling machine, but we'll cross that chicken when we come to it. Okay. Right, so we have an input. Let's put it where it can actually go in, and an output. So the input is going to request coal. Right, and we'll figure out how much coal when we're ready. The output is going to output plastic, and let's cap that at 2 stacks. So to power this whole thing up, there's a gap here where we can get a power pole, and let's put one diagonal there. Okay, then for now we will power the whole thing up. Okay, right, so the tiling position for that would be there. I think would be there, but no, that doesn't look symmetric, does it? Does that look better? That looks better. Except it's the other way that we care about, so there. Okay, so that's our unit. Right, so let's ask max rate calculator what's going on here. So this produces 1.2k plastic per minute. And wow, takes nearly 10k of petroleum a minute. That's amazing. Okay, so we may hit pipe limits quite soon. Now, do we have room? No, we don't. Where are we going to put this pipe? There. Right, so let's put in an unbarreling machine. Just so that we've got a measure of the speed involved. So let's put this inside its cage, because it would be. Okay. There we are. I'm aware I've not actually plumbed any of this. Okay, so the petroleum we can unbarrel is vastly more than, just vastly more than we're using. About 50 times, 100 times, I don't know, a lot. So this isn't going to be an issue with petroleum, it's going to be an issue with pipes. So the only way to do this is to try it, I think. Right, so if we are going to get, let's move that. So if we're going to get several of these joined up, we need to have basically a pipe there, which means this is now not in the right place. So we would need to move this over one, or we need to, yeah, that doesn't really help us, does it? Okay, so let's get rid of that. So that could be your upright there. So then this would go in there. Okay. Okay, so how does that look? It's like a mess. However, if we move that over, because it's now a mess, we have room for a substation. There we are. Which powers up the whole thing, including these beacons, which aren't needed for this unit. Okay, let's just check we haven't mucked up the rates. No, we haven't. 1.2k. Okay, let's take this. One. Ooh, what doesn't match there? Ah, the beacons. They need to be offset, so we need to put a single gap. And if we do that, it's now not hitting them all. Okay. So, what would happen if we just moved that end one over? I've got a feeling that won't. No, the issue is the end one. Okay, so if we can't move the beacons out on the right hand side, we would have to move them out on the left hand side instead. Now, could we move both of these out? Yes, we could. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so this is now one of those shonky builds with a single gap. Does this tile? It does. And now we can add in the cable there. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just checking each of these is still hit by 12. So that's 1.277. So this should be 1.5 something. Sorry, 2.554, that's right. So that is the correct build. That's the single, that's the double. Let's take the double, keep a blueprint of the single. So that is 1, 2, and here we've run out of space. Okay, let's do this up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see if that fits in. That's starting to look quite big. Right. Gonna make a new blueprint. Grab that. Okay, so that's a single row of 11 plastic machines. How are we doing for size? So that does fit within our logistics footprint. I don't think we can fit in a 12th. So that may be our option. So if we had 1, 2, 3 of those. I'm only going to build out half the site for now because it's a lot of stuff to alter later. Okay, there we are. So we could go bigger by adding extra drones, and we may decide to go bigger, but this is how we're going for now. Right, so this produces 42k plastic. Okay, now let's see if I can find the right window. So I'm looking for the plastic diagram, and here we are. Okay, so we need 161,000 in total. So 161,000 plastic total. We have here 42,000 for a half build. Right, let's find a calculator. Not a spreadsheet, a calculator. Where is it? No? Here we are, a calculator. Right, so what did I say? 161 divided by 42. So 3.8 half builds. So 2 full builds of this. So I'm not going to bother making it any bigger, because by the time we've added in the second side, it's already big enough that we only need 2 builds of this for the entire thing, which I think is a result. Right, let's take that out, and then, of course, it had to be exactly 1 square off, didn't it? Okay, well, if it's going to be 1 square off, then let's neaten it up a bit. Okay, so the green wire for the clock goes there, 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 there. Let's zoom all the way in. Right, we will then take it to this substation and this inserter, this inserter, this inserter. So now the whole of this should be clocked. Let's find out. Did I forget to actually clock this? Yes, I did. So it should be set filters. see if that... Down those, and then let's do this one. Okay, now, is this actually working? So this is periodically... it looks like we have the wrong... Yeah, it looks like I've managed to wire this to the clock rather than wiring it to the output. Right, so let's... Whoops. That's better. All right, so it's that needs wiring. Yeah, now that's periodically outputting plastic. And this is... Yep, this is flashing occasionally with plastic. Okay. So then the other thing is... Because these have an increased speed, this was originally set to 50, but it needs to be 245 to have 30 seconds worth of input. So let's do that. Okay, now let's double check. That's set to 245. That is meant to be capped at 2 stacks. So let's run that down, check that is, yeah. Oh, right, that's annoying. Let's do all the red boxes. Then we'll go back for the blues. See if we can get that done correctly. Okay, so this right. Yeah, that's frustrating. Right, let's see if this has worked. So that's 245. That's cleared. Right, let's do all of those, all the requests. I should have done this before I did any of the other work, but I wasn't paying enough attention. Okay, and so these should all be now requesting. Okay, and then these ones I want to set to 2 stacks because I don't want this to just buffer up indefinitely. Right, we'll have to do this down the rows so that we don't touch the blue machines. Okay, let's check if this is done correctly. So this is down to 2 stacks, this is requesting coal. Wonderful. Couldn't have been simpler. And then we have a single machine here which is not powered. Sorry, a single beacon. That would normally have a beacon, normally have a power pole somewhere. I don't know, let's just drop that in there. Right. The power is cross-linked because we have these substations, which is frustrating because this power switch here isn't going to work very well if there's an alternate route for the power. Okay, now we have 8 carriages which can each have 4 rows. Each stack is of 100 plastic, so each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1,000. So you can get 4,000 in one carriage. We have 8 carriages, 8, 16, 24, 32. So a single carriage is 32. A single train load is 32. The boxes, we're going to set the soft upper limit at 64. That's fine. So we need to do something about this cross wiring, but I'm not going to fix that now. We can fix that at a later time. It's probably going to be a case of putting in different poles down the middle, which have less reach, but then we'll have to fiddle around with making sure that the drone ports are powered up from the middle so that when the outer one is turned off, because production is suspended. The drone ports don't power down. Anyway, we'll deal with that in a minute. I think the first thing is to add some logistics bots. I don't know how many we're going to need. So let's just add some. Okay. So 140 in there at the moment. That's really not going to be enough. Of course, in the real thing, there will be the logistics speed bonuses, which aren't here. But anyway, right. So these things should be filling up. What's going on? Ah, they're upset because they don't have petroleum. Great. So for now, we will fudge it with a petroleum unbarreling machine, which, as I say, may not be how we do it in the real game. So the recipe here is petroleum, empty petroleum barrel. We will connect the pipe. And I honestly have no idea how many machines this will service. Okay. So for this to work, we need to feed it and empty it. So we will use creative things for this. So we will feed it from a duplicating chest, and we will empty it into a void storage chest. That's probably the best choice for now. So anything that gets put in here disappears. Anything which is put in here is duplicated ad infinitum. Okay. So this is producing petroleum, and it seems to be running at, oh no, it's backed up. Great. So because this machine is backed up, because this machine's backed up, it means that basically what we're looking at down here is how many machines a single petroleum machine can service. Right, we have machines here which are, okay, so this is backed up because the clock is running too slow. We may find out that a clock isn't necessary for this build. Right, so it's set to 75, that's obviously ridiculous. Okay, so that's set to 30. Okay, so this is stalling because it's not being emptied fast enough on 30. So let's set this to 25. I'm sure there's a way to do this with maths, but frankly, I'm just going to do it by trial and error. Okay, so we're not using all our logistics bots, so it's not a logistics bots problem. So the issue is the clock. Okay. So even there we're stalling. Right, let's empty that so that we're starting from an empty. Okay, so that's filling up. So that's 20, 15. And we're getting down to the point where it's not worth having a clock. Okay, 15 seems to be good. But this looks to me as if it's just working full time. So I'm not sure that a clock makes sense. Right, so the whole of this row is being serviced and this is flashing various colors. Okay, so this has a petroleum problem. So we can't, where else do we have? This has a petroleum problem. Okay, so one unbarreling machine at running this speed isn't able to service the row. Let's fill it up with speed mods, and we will check that this is stalling. Okay, this is stalling. I think that's stalling on inserters. But anyway, we are still not getting enough petroleum down the pipe. Okay, so what would happen if we basically had okay, so we've doubled up our ins and outs. So this is now running closer to available full speed. Okay, so that's kept the row going. Okay, so valuable lesson learnt. We need 2 inserters filling and emptying the barrels. Okay, so this says we should be producing a net of 14k plastic for this row, and we are producing 11k. That's quite a way off 14k. So our build is not happy. We are still getting flashing lights here. It's petroleum. So this barreling machine can't keep up. Is this machine... This machine is bumping along at full capacity, so I'm not sure what we can do about that. Maybe we can add speed beacons. I want to get it to the point where it stalls. Okay. And this will need a single wire there. So this machine is now running... Yeah, so this machine, although you can't really see it, it is stalling, trying to get rid of its petroleum. Okay, it's pretty much on purple. So this machine here is backed up, and still this can't get enough petroleum in. So we have an issue here where basically you can't get enough petroleum down the pipe. This is why I'm glad I didn't do the entire build. So what we're going to do is peel off one machine at a time until the max rate calculator rate matches the actual rate. So this should be 14k, and our production is 11k. Okay, so if we were to take away that, our production is still 11k, so it was controlled by the plastic. Take that away. Production is still 11k, so still petroleum bound. 11k. Oh, is that dropping? 10k. Right, so we may have found the machine that makes the difference. Okay, so max rate calculator on these. This is 11.495. And our production is 11, and unfortunately it doesn't give the fractions. 5 seconds, it's 9 5 something. So call it 950 in 5 seconds. 950 divided by 5 times 60, 11.4. Okay, and considering that is rough numbers, and our max rate calculator said it produced 11.495, I'm calling that a build. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's 9 chemical plants running off 1 barrel machine. Okay, and I get the impression we're going to have to do it with barrels because of pipe pressure, because the barrel machine is capable of producing more petroleum by quite a vast rate than these are capable of consuming. So let's run back up here to there. Right, so yeah, you can see that petroleum is a massive credit. It's an issue of how much you can force down pipes, not of what they can consume. Okay, now can we start taking away beacons from here and keeping the production at 11? So if we take away those 4, production is at 11. Okay, take away that one and that one. Production's at 11. Take out all these speed mods. Production is at 11. Right, so there's absolutely no issue with this machine. What happens if we take away those? Production's down. Okay, so it does need the second inserters. That's got us back up. Has it got us back up? Right, so what else have I changed? Let's check. Production, no, it's definitely down at 9.7. And this is now, yeah, we've got some, right, so the, all right, are we now back up to 11? Now we're up to 10. Double check. Yeah, we're definitely up to 10. So we can't quite force enough petroleum up the pipe on that. Okay, this machine is upset. It's not quite getting the petroleum, so we would add a couple of beacons. This is backing up. There we are. And those 2 beacons have done it. Okay, so what can we do here? This is obviously an annoying outcome. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 machines altogether, including the barrel machine. Right, we've got 11 we've got 11 of those machines in a row. Right. Now, I wonder what would happen if we put the barreling machine in the middle of the row rather than off to the side, so that basically the fluids could travel in 2 directions rather than in 1. So we will try that out. I don't know if there's enough room to do that, but we will try it. Okay, so let's just before we do that, I've got empty barrels. I'll have to make some more full barrels. Okay, so if we take that out. 1, 2, our middle machine is going to be around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. All right. Now let's put these pipes back. So this is now the build which won't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the middle. So this. What would happen if we put the unbarreling machine here in the middle? Now, there's going to be an issue, I think, getting the extra inserters in place. But it's not the end of the world. Okay, so this is going to be petroleum unbarreling. Right, it's got 12 beacons around it instead of the 8 we had. There's no speed modules in it. There's nowhere here for the... Right, how can we do this? So I kind of need one extra square. I'm going to strip off the back rows of this build because at the moment they're kind of surplus to requirement. We're not using them. There we go. And the boxes can go with it. This build isn't right. So 1, 2, 3 beacons and the fourth one misses. So some of these are on 3 and some are on 4. Let's have a look again. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. This has 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry to be counting this out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this misses. So what's going on here? So the... Right, let's head up and check from this end. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we've aligned this to the other side, haven't we? Because it's centered. Well, that's not going to actually help us, I don't think, anyway. Right, so I want to put this machine in so that there is room. Oh! There's a gap behind it. Okay. Except that gap behind it, we can't put a stack inserter on. Right, so this would be one option. But then where does the pipe go? Well, we can do some pipe spaghetti, which may or may not serve us well. No, we can't do pipe spaghetti because there's no way to get the pipe out. Right, that only overlaps the chemical plant by a single tile, so I can't move this and maintain the build. This one isn't so critical with this. We can lose a couple of beacons off this it doesn't need the full 12 beacons to function. Answers on a postcard. The other way to do it would be to go for total barrel overkill. So we would have a barreling machine at either end of the row. But I kind of wanted to test out this with it in the middle. Right, what if I rip up the whole of the bottom of here and move it down a square? Do we? Yeah, we have room to do that. Okay. I'm going to make a new blueprint because we may or may not want to roll this change back. Okay, so there we are. Let's nuke that half of the build. I should have given it a letter. Okay, so it was there. Let's move it down one more. Okay. Has this given us the room we need? So we would have still don't see where I get my extra inserter out from. And I don't really want to do it with the long inserter because I've got a feeling the long inserter just will not be fast enough. Do I have room here to do pipe shenanigans? No. And I don't think there's room to do any pipes the other side. Nope. So I can't see how I can put the petroleum in the middle. Which is a shame because I really didn't want to have lots of petroleum bots flying to the ends. I don't really want to take away one of these beacons because it would make one of these things have a lower production rate. Okay, so this isn't really getting us anywhere. This is our old row. And of course I forgot to take a blueprint of the entire thing. All right, let's take this out. Right, this is the whole row. Put that back down. Check it is what we wanted. So no, that's not what we wanted. What we wanted was to put the half row back down. Okay, has that? Yeah, that's overwritten. Good. And yeah, we're getting the flashing. Okay, so that's our row. We would lose 2 machines off this, and then we'd put in 1 unbarreling machine. Okay. What are the other ways of doing this? Well, instead of doing things in rows, we could do things in backwards and forwards. Just recount. So that's 11 plants, but we can only supply petroleum to 9 of them. So we have 11, 22, 33, except we would have 6 machines left over that we can't supply to. And 6 doesn't divide nicely into 9. Right, so how else could we do this? Right, so if we literally divided this half and half, except it's an odd number. So let's put 1 more unit on the end. Is that? Yeah, so let's take the short build and take it down 1. Okay. So this is outside logistics, but we can move it in easily enough with the bots. So that would take us up to 12 machines. So that would, so we could supply them 6 and 6 with the chemical, with the unbarreling. All right. Let's take a. Don't think I want that one or that one or that one anymore because they have the wrong stuff set up. All right, so that's 1 unit. Let's come back over here. Okay, so that's our unit for plastic. Okay, so that's 2 of them, 3 of them. 4. Right, and we said 9 can be, we think 9 can be provided for by a single barreling machine. So if we take that down to 8, what would we need so that the barreling machine could actually work? See, we could move the barreling machine, we can't move it up because then we can't get the pipes in. Okay. But we need 4 inserters, not 3. Okay, if we move that over, make that back to barrels. Okay. Right, so let's say we have 2 ins, an out, and an out, like that. And we'll worry about how we power it up in a moment. So that would be requester, provider. Okay. Then let's take this unit again. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's 8 of them around one of these, and we can add extra speed modules in if we need to, and we can oh, that's already hitting it. So this is hit by 10 beacons rather than 12. What I'm wondering is, if this outputs fluids to both the left and the right, perhaps the fluids will get further. Okay, so let's hook up the green wires. Okay. So that's the center of our build. So I will take a blueprint of this. Right, put it down here. Get rid of that. There we are. This is the ugly build. Okay, and there's no good way to center this, so we will just plop it down. There we go. Brilliant. And let's do some green wireage. Okay, this is temporary. Seriously, is that not close enough? Okay. Right. So that's it. So they're flashing now. So what we're missing is a supply of barrels and a sink of barrels. So for now I'm going to cheat with a voiding requester chest. Here, this is going to request empty barrels. Whereas the thing that's just a barrel, it's going to request barrels, it's going to request 4K of them. And then there's going to be next to it a duplicating provider chest, which is going to provide petroleum barrels. Okay. Oh, sulfuric acid. Well, that's not going to work very well, is it? Change that back to petroleum. Awesome. So, barrels. So, max rate says that we should be producing 10K. And production says 10K. Awesome. So let's add on more. So if we grab a double stretch, right, that is just on the edge of logistics. Max rate says we should be producing 11.495K. Production says 11K. And down to 10. There was a bounce and then it fell back. So there's an issue of supply and demand here. Right, and this is just not getting the petroleum in. And do we have a problem with the barrel machine? Yes, the barrel machine is low. Right, let's fill this up with speed mods. Right, it's got plenty of petroleum. What's the issue? These chests are nice and empty. These chests are nice and full. Alright, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 400 and something. The logistics quest is for 1.1K. Okay, so the logistics request is ridiculous. This should be petroleum gas barrels set to 400. Okay. So it's always full of barrels. It feels like it's not being emptied quick enough, because the petroleum is definitely not backing up. And this last machine It's definitely running low on petroleum. And this one's just topping out as well. Okay, that seems better. So the barrels in here are now low. And this is more consistently... Yeah, that's more consistent. Okay. So our production is now at 11k. Brilliant. Okay, so what happens if we put another one on this end? So that would go there. And there is this cable in the way, which of course is an important one. Okay, so we can now break the connection there. We need to make the connection there. Whoops. Okay. Okay. This is up to 12. Yeah, that's definitely more. And it's doing over 1k in 5 seconds. And what should it be doing? It should be doing 12. So we appear to be keeping this going. So the trick was to put the barreling machine in the middle of the row. And to make sure it's emptied. Because it's definitely filled, but it needs to be emptied. Okay. Now, that is the option with a barreling machine. So we'd have one barreling machine per row. We'd have 3 of them. So that would give us 12, 24, 36, 37. So, and then double that, 60, 70. So it would be about 75k for the whole build. Which is not too shabby, really. Right, so what else could we do? Well, it's worth asking the question, can we get another machine on the end without... Yeah, because this petroleum is full, right? And this one? Yeah, this petroleum is absolutely full. So we don't have a petroleum problem anymore. And the issue was that we couldn't get the barrels out. So what happens if we put another one of these on here? I'm loath to, because that's so far outside logistics. Yeah, I think we're starting to think about extending the build too far out. So let's just do this with 3 rows. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Right, we need to backwire these. There we are. Now everything's on the clock. Although, yeah, I'm really not sure if the clock's needed here. I think those inserters are working pretty consistently anyway. Right, this can go. Now, how are we doing for bots? All right, all the logistics bots are out working. Okay, so we did have about 150 working it. 250 is not enough. I'm all for overkill on this. If some are roosting, who cares? Okay, so put in 1,050, 700-ish are not working, 650-ish are not working. Okay, we may have charging issues here. Let's take out the radar. Okay. And put the radar back in at the bottom. And that's working quite well. Right, we have issues here with these not being within logistics range. Let's botch this. Right, so if we had a box there and a standard steel chest, one here, move that to there. Let's take out that. Okay. That is not beautiful. Right, let's cap these chests off at 1 stack. 2 stacks. 2 stacks. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. So what else is going on? So this seems to be stalling a lot more than this. What is... This is full of petroleum. This is fairly full of petroleum, but this is definitely stalling. Is there anything weird here? These are within logistics range. This has coal. Okay, so the output is full. Nothing's coming to collect it. Okay. That is very odd. It's like the plastic at the back hasn't been noticed. Okay, I think the problem is the barreling machines are just eating up all the logistics requests for this area. Okay. So, back to the drawing board. This isn't going to scale. There's just too many logistics requests in because of the sheer volume of requests to and from barrels, I think. Either that, or perhaps we are lacking sufficient pull. So these are requesting 100 plastic. What if they were requesting 4K? Yeah, what if these boxes you were just not pulling enough? Okay. Well, now they are pulling enough. let's ask max rate what this should be producing. It should be producing 38k, and it is producing 38k. Yep, and that's our dip. That's where we weren't requesting enough material. So basically we weren't requesting material fast enough. Okay. So this is a bit of a horror show here, but it does demonstrate that it can be done. Go back to this. So we are, it doesn't say how fast we are producing or consuming petroleum or how many barrels. That's annoying. I would have liked something on here that basically told us how many barrels we were consuming, emptying and filling. Okay. But at least we don't appear to have a charging problem yet. So let's grab this. We'll put this down the other side. Is that lined up? Yeah, it is. Right. Now, there was a green wire here. That can be broken. Then we have a that. So there we are. That's that clock. So in principle, what should this make? It should be making 76.6k. It's producing 42. All our bots are busy. That's okay. Lots more bots. Starting to get a bit worried about the recharging situation here. $62, $63, $64, $65, $66, up to $67. Nope. Right, and we've got, have we got recharging halos yet? Don't know, but we are not great. Okay, that's backed up. Okay, so we've not got logistics bot numbers problem. There are plenty roosted. What we have is a request problem now. So this is full because nothing is requesting the plastic. Okay, so these boxes need to be doubled up. Let's grab that. Let's start off with 3. Are they wired to anything? We'll have to go back and have a look at that. Okay. So we're now requesting more. And our productivity has actually gone down. as the bots were dealing with loads of stuff. Right, put it back to 1 minute. You can see that dipped right down as they were doing loads more work. Right, we've hit 60. And what's going on? So that's still pretty much full. We're not getting enough requests in. How are we doing for bots? They're just about okay. Okay, so let's put in another requester box. Currently have 3. Yep. Now how are we doing for bots? Well, they are all working, so let's dump some more in. As I said, I'm not that worried about the number of bots needed for this because I'll have bot speed trained up. What I am worried about is recharging halos. Okay, so that's fine. We're over our bump there. Now, these have gone dark. They have no petroleum because this isn't being serviced. Okay, so we have a single chest providing the cans at the moment. I don't think that's enough. Right, so this is the void requester chest. So there's now 2 places to put the stuff you don't need. Right, there's now 2 places to get petroleum barrels. And so we're clearly going to need a petroleum barrel train if we use barrels. But I think that's a big if. Right, let's check this. This is now up to... Oh, it was up at 70 odd and it has fallen back. Joy. I'm looking at the lights again. That's full. And I don't know. Yeah, there's a halo here. Right. So I think what we're coming around to is that you just can't build this moving all the barrels around by bot. If you think about it in the real world, we would have a train offloading the barrels. There would be a lot of barrels being offloaded, and yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Okay. So, options. We could go for a much smaller build. I could strip off the back row on both sides. Let's take a blueprint of this. Call it plastic 6, because it has 6 rows. Okay. Now, what we could do is strip off the back row of the build. So that reduces the amount of work that needs doing here. Right, so the calculated production, theoretical production here is 51k. And the actual production is 51k. So this build does work. So it's a 51k plastic build And where has the... There we are. So 51, so 50, 100, 150. So we need 3 and a bit builds of this for the pie in the sky 10k base. Which is not impossible, right? It's just a bit of a shame that we can't have a 3-row build. And we're still getting haloing. I'm not... I think that would be worse in practice once we had maybe it's okay. Right, how are we doing for power? So this is 2.8 going up to spiking up at 3k 300k power, which isn't awful. Okay, so let's take a blueprint of that. So that's the plastic 4. Okay, brilliant. Right, what is the other way of doing this? The other way of doing this is to have a set of, is to have basically a load of fluid being pumped around from tanks. Okay, and we could place the tanks down the middle, but it's probably going to be much nicer to place them directly by a train. So I'm going to take a blueprint of one module, because I've got a feeling we'll basically end up using a pair of modules, because then the wiring works. Okay, so this is our plastics module. Right, and just so that we know that this is making plastic, where's the, yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay, so let's nuke this. Nuke this. Right. Then we will let this thing all run itself down. Where's the barrels gone? Ah, here. All right, so those can go. Those can go. We have an issue with storage, so let's put down a generic that's it. Great. Then we'll rip up this side. And we need to put in another train yet another blueprint. And we'll just take it from there for now. Don't need any of this. Don't need any inserters or boxes. Right, and where to put it. See, the problem is it's going to have to take up just ridiculous amounts of space, because they do. The other place it could go is behind the build. So let's take this for a second. Where is it? All right. So just as a ladder, so we have 1, 2, 3 of those. Right. What if we brought this in behind there? Is that... like that. I'm not suggesting this is pretty. Right, and again, this is not ideal. Okay, now let's say we had fluid wagons, and for now I'm going to use creative fluid wagons. If we have them, is there such a thing as a creative fluid wagon? No, there doesn't appear to be. Well, that's slightly sad. So the best we can do is simulate it with some pumps. So I will dump down some carriages just to pretend. Right, so we'd have, basically we'd have them running like that. And the idea would be I wonder if we could run... We can't line them up, can we? So where did the... This is the 6. This is the one I'd ideally like to do. And we can't line up the 8 fluid wagons with 8 beacon builds. Let's see if we can. Let's put it over here. So if we line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... We could do 8 that way. And how many are in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could do a 3x8 rather than a 3x10. We'd be losing some throughput, but then we could pipe directly out of these guys into a strip. I'm not entirely liking that. Let's mock it up. Let's mock that up. Okay. So the idea would be that we would have we would have basically one machine, one of these cassettes running per train carriage. Okay, now if we zoom in, we could turn that sideways. And now instead, there we go. So then we could run the pipes that way. Now there's nowhere to get them back through. So we may need a fluid station on each side. But that wouldn't be the end of the world, would it? Right, so then I really am winging this. Take that, put it down a second and a third time. Right, and then this is kind of in the wrong place now, so let's... Right, so this would have to come out here. Rip up a bit of rail to make space. So this would then have to be on a pump. And it would have to be buffered with a tank. then that tank would need to empty. At least that lines up. We have to empty there. Okay, so of course I deleted the blueprint I actually needed. Let's take it from the curve down to there with the train station, without the inserters. Okay, so then we can pull up this there we go. We would need some power here, but this really wants to be not powered by the fluids build. Okay, this is looking like it could work. Did I make a new blueprint? Let's. There we go. Right, so let's do that together with the pump. So that is one build. Two builds. And then now we can do the two builds properly. So that is one. Two builds. Now do we, yeah, we have the wires in, good. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I really like that. Okay. And then we would do the same thing the other side. Now, what's the theoretical rate on this? It's 30k. So the whole build will be 60k. There is no second place to take a pipe through to the other side. Perhaps there is. Right, so let's take this. We can line it up and put it in there. Does that look lined up? I keep asking this and it keeps ending up basically being a question of me dropping the one build over the other to see. But I think that's as good as anything. Okay. Okay. We don't have the drone ports in. Let's try again with the drone ports. Right, and we don't need all these, we don't need this ridiculous number of drone ports anymore. Okay, so we're back to our simpler design from a simpler age. Right, that'll do for now. So we have this that could come out over here. The problem is the drone ones. But I'm thinking, perhaps this pipe, when it comes out here, we could thread the extra pipe through somehow, through this build, because we have two outputs. And if we, So we could get an output there, you see. It's not ideal because we'd be taking it out through a couple of pipes. We need to bring it in there, thread it all the way through and out the other side. No, not liking that. Not liking that at all. Okay. So I think the option is to do effectively this on the other side. Right, so let's start with this. I know things are not on the right side. Okay. So that would be something like, we have a issue with rails. Right, where's that one? Right, let's delete the rails and the signals. Okay. Still can't do it because that has a train stop. There. Okay. So then we have our train stop blueprint. There. So then, I think that works. Now the only way to find out is to botch it together with some creative mode trickery. So firstly, these need powering up. Plastic is pretty much the nightmare build for this, although I'm wondering if some of the petroleum ones are going to be equally hideous. So for some of those, it might be literally a case of having a train into a tank, then the tank goes through some making, and then it comes out the other side into another train. It might just be train to train. All right. Do we have big poles? No. Let's get a stack of those. So I would like to pretend that we're not cross-linking. Again, I'm going to have to come back later and sort out the cross-wiring between the... there we are. And these are all powered up from here. That's fine. Now, I could stick fluid wagons down. The problem with those is getting them loaded and unloaded. However, let's see if we can botch that. Sorry, this is a much longer episode than I expected. It's just ended up being a far more complicated build than I hoped. Okay, and I really wasn't very pleased with the earlier attempt that had all that bot traffic for the fluids. Okay, let's put down some more fluid wagons. Where's my fluid wagons gone? I'm at that point where I'm a bit item blind. Oh, they're down here. There we are. Okay, so the botch, and you will have to forgive me for this, is this. So we have a pump and a creative mode fluid source. and this is set to petroleum. So this into the pump, into the wagon, then it should be pumped out this side. Now what's going on? So this pump is full. You can either be filling or emptying. Well, that's just sad. Okay, so that is the solution. Okay, I'm using my sad face here because I kind of wanted to simulate this with the fluid wagons in place, but short of setting up a pretend rail network, which is really, really overkill for what we're trying to do today, that wasn't going to happen. Okay. Right, rip all this track up. Right, fluids. It is important that we pass all the fluids through pumps and things because they will all be in the final build, so they're bottlenecks in the final build. Okay, so that's all backed up. Why is nothing happening? We have logistics bots in the network. We have coal in the network. This is backed up because it is not on the clock yet. So to get it on the clock, there we go. So there, to there, to there, to there. And then we need to carry the wire backwards. Okay, so this should be 30k. And the production should be 30k. It's actually doing 13. Because we don't have the bots. Okay, let's dump some more in. So that's enough to service the front 2 rows. They're still bouncing around 28, 29. Yeah. So you seem to see these bounces in production when the issue is not enough logistics bots. Enough logistics bots get free and production bumps up, and then it goes back down again. Right, 29, come on, 30. Brilliant. So that's hit our production for 1/2 of the build. And there is no way that the throughput on this train is saturated. So I don't see why we shouldn't share this fluid station here with the next module and just have it unloading the other side. Right, so let's rip up these trains. Brilliant. So Yeah. Sorry, I was about to pull up the thing which worked. Take that out. Find a disposable blueprint. That's fun. Okay. Let's take that without the signals and put it down there. Right. Then this is not working because the clock isn't on. So wire, 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 wire. Production isn't hitting 60. We had one of those. Look at the 1 minute. You'll see the hump. Right. So you saw the hump. Got up towards 60. Fell back. So this is going to be logistics bots. Yeah, all the logistics are active. Add another 500. Give them a moment to settle down. Right. Production is teetering on 60. We have a charging problem, so it's time to add more roboports, I think. Now, how bad is the charging problem? Now that we have the extra, it'll take a moment for the extra ones to get used and for the halos around the other ones to disperse. Right, so all our bots are in use, I think partly because there's a few of them waiting to charge. Production isn't up at full speed. How are we doing here? Okay, we have plenty of outstanding requests. Quite there. Right, all the bots are out, so let's put some more bots into the system. Put them in a bit by bit. Right, a bunch of orange lights have turned green. And we are teetering on 60. And again, we're starting to get, well, there are bots charging, but they're out here, which is haloing. Right, how can this be improved? All the bots are live. Put another few bots in the system. I don't think that's going to help because I think the issue is bot charging. Yeah, I think I'm just adding to the charging problem now. So it's almost running at full speed. max rate calculator says 60, just over 60. Yeah, and this isn't making it because we have a bot charging issue. And the bot charging issue is then meaning that right, add 2 more on each side, on each end. Is that enough? Might be. Might be. Were we really that close to having it? Right, we still have halos, so let's add. There we are. So now, whenever these are flying in line, there's a recharging point in line. And that's got us up to 60. Yeah, so you can see it was a bot charging issue. So we need the full row of roboports for this build. Right, so that's a 60k throughput. So we need 161 for our ridiculous target. 161 divided by 60 is 2.68. So 3 of these builds would be sufficient for our 10k base, which is awesome. We are consuming 462 petroleum a minute. Right. Let's go back to the calculator. I hope I didn't kill the calculator. Yeah, I think I might have. Right. So we have 462,599 units of petroleum a minute consumed by this. Right. We have 16 fluid wagons. And each fluid wagon carries 75k. Okay, so we need 0.4 pairs of trains, 0.4 pairs of trains a minute. So 0.8 trains a minute. So roughly 1 petroleum train a minute. That sounds very achievable to me. I think we can do that. So I'm going to call the episode here. This is essentially the build we're going to run with in the main base. I need to obviously sort out the railway network for this because it is a dog's breakfast. But I'll do that off camera. So just to recap, we went through a bunch of builds, bot-based builds. The ones with the barrels didn't work because fundamentally there are too many bots trying to move too many barrels. This slimmed down build does work. We have each incoming train carriage being dedicated to powering a strip of plastic machines. And by doing that, everything balances, everything works. Then we need an entire strip of roboports to keep everything charging, and once you do that, it works. Right, well, thank you very much. That was a lot more involved than I thought it would be. Thank you for your indulgence for sticking with it. I'll be back next time, hopefully with a much simpler build and a lot less headaches. All right, bye-bye.